up, but a bad little pussy talk. Pussy talented and do cartwheels, and he paid 'cause he like how that part feel, yeah. Pussy gives speeches heartfelt. Said the pussy really talk like a Garfield. Said I got away with my lips poking.
Bibble, you're a genius.
One of the reasons that Abed from Community is one of my favorite representations of autism ever is because even though he has his insecurities at times, he's also just super confident in himself. Like, this is one of my favorite scenes.
Abed, you know we just want you to be happy, right?
Yeah, I know. Everybody wants me to be happy. Everybody wants to help me. But usually when they find out they can't, they get frustrated and stop talking to me. Or they trick me into buying them ice cream and then shove me into a clothes dryer, which I didn't want to happen with you guys, so I want to make sure that you felt like you could help me. The truth is, lots of girls like me because, let's face it, I'm pretty adorable. And my aloofness unconsciously reminds them of their fathers, so I'm more used to them approaching me.
So we didn't damage your self-esteem or anything?
Bert, I got self-esteem falling out of my butt. That's why I was willing to change for you guys, because when you really know who you are and what you like about yourself, changing for other people isn't such a big deal.
Ah, you look like you know what you're doing.
God, my hyperfixation is so embarrassing. Like, I want to talk about it, but like, oh my god, it's just so niche. The fucking stock market.
Yeah. You know how much of an asshole I feel like for understanding this shit?
This is everything I stand against, and it has been the only thing that I can fucking care about for the past week.
Except I'm not gonna piss on the earth. I'm gonna go higher. I'm pissing on the moon!
I am autism. I'm visible in your children, but if I can help it, I am invisible to you until it's too late. I know where you live, and guess what? I live there too. I hover around all of you. I know no color barrier, no religion, no morality, no currency. I speak your language fluently, and with every voice I take away, I acquire yet another language. I work very quickly. I work faster than pediatric AIDS, cancer, and diabetes combined. And if you are happily married, I will make sure that your marriage fails. Your money will fall into my hands, and I will bankrupt you for my own self-gain. I don't sleep, so I make sure you don't either. I will make it virtually impossible for your family to easily attend a temple, a birthday party, a public park, without a struggle, without embarrassment, without pain. You have no cure for me.
I have anxiety. That means I'm in my shell and have a hard time expressing myself. I find it difficult to engage with others. So everyone shut the fuck up because my anxiety is up here right now.
And now I want to sit back and relax and enjoy my evening. When all of a sudden I hear this agitating, grating voice.
Honestly, I don't really give a fuck.
Have you heard of vestibular dysfunction?
So most of us with autism have sensory issues, but this isn't something I've seen talked about on here yet. The vestibular system refers to the structures in your inner ear which detect the movement of your head and position of your head. Your vestibular system tells you whether your head is tilted up or down when your eyes are closed. Some autistic people have vestibular dysfunction. Most of these individuals have difficulty integrating space, gravity, and balance and movement information. This results in these autistic people with vestibular dysfunction issues being either undersensitive to movement or oversensitive to movement, or a combination of both. For those who are hypersensitive to these kind of movements, meaning they feel them 10 times more, something as simple as turning around can throw your whole equilibrium off balance, and these people tend to be clumsy. They tend to be uncoordinated, fall a lot, bump into stuff a lot. And some children who are affected by this don't even like crawling or going on the swings because it's too much motion for their system to handle. And hyposensitive people are the opposite. Their bodies don't recognize this movement, so as a result, they're constantly seeking it and craving it. These will be the kids you see constantly spinning around, jumping off of things, hanging off of things, climbing things. They just can't seem to sit still, and they just have endless amounts of energy. And hypersensitive individuals with autism, they won't want to stim by making a lot of noise or movement. They'll want to rock gently, play with their hands, play with a small toy. They don't like a lot of movement when they stim either. And hyposensitive individuals with autism, they will want to stim by jumping around, spinning off of stuff, making noise. They crave that movement. And they'll even feel understimulated if they don't get enough movement. Same way with hypersensitive individuals feeling overstimulated if they get too much movement. So I think it's important to know what kind of vestibular system you have so that you know how to stim correctly and don't overstimulate yourself or understimulate yourself in the process. But also, like I said, you can have a combination of both of these. For example, I love rock climbing, I love heights, I love spinning around, I love moving, all of it. What I hate, that boat ride at Busch Gardens that goes like this. I can feel everything in my stomach moving every time I get on that ride, and I cannot stand it. I just made myself sad thinking about how many hyposensitive kids are probably just written off and diagnosed with ADHD.
Good morning. The entire cast of characters of Bob's Burgers is autistic coded, and the only reason that people think Tina is the only autistic one is because she has the least socially acceptable behaviors of all of the characters.
I've never done anything like this before!
Okay, calm down. Look, I'm not a cop. I'm not a cop. I'm not.
I always think it's so funny when people say things like, DID is so rare, there's no way this many people could be plural. As if the incidence of DID in the population is not between 1 to 3%. As if OSDD1 doesn't exist, which also results in plurality, and as if OSDD1 was not more prevalent than DID, which it is. As if the combination of people who have DID and OSDD1, so everyone who experiences disordered plurality, is not at a prevalence rate of 5.6% of the population. As if people with DID and OSDD cannot heal from their trauma, achieve healthy multiplicity, and exist outside of the diagnostic standards as a non-disordered plural system. As if these statistics were not drawn from a population of mostly upper middle class white people, completely excluding anyone who cannot financially access therapy, is misdiagnosed with schizophrenia, or is involuntarily warehoused in our prison system. So in all likelihood, our prevalence in the population is likely higher than 5.6. And they think that 5.6% is not a lot when people with red hair are at 2%, queer people are 1.2 to 6.8%, and trans people are less than 1% of the population. Come on guys, just say that you hate the idea of plurality and that supporting someone in your life who may be plural is too challenging to your narrow conceptualization of self that you would rather just dismiss an entire community of people than recognize us for who we are and how many we are.
Listen, it's a good joke. It's a great joke even. But I need you to stop anyway.
Every kid with autism.
So this creator just made a video about this. You should go watch it. I would stitch it, but they have stitches turned off, which honestly, I respect that. So do I. This app is hell. There's this idea that neurotypical people have about ADHD, that it's this like quirky personality trait that makes you funny and creative and is like superficially frustrating sometimes, but is ultimately not a real problem because there's tools to deal with every part of it. And there's a few reasons for this misconception. One is that it's the lie we have to tell our boss in order to stay employed. So that's fun. Like, I would love to start every new job, honestly, by saying, okay, really quickly, I just want to set expectations. Sometimes I am going to miss an important meeting and then not respond to Slacks or texts or emails for 2 hours because I am in the bathroom rearranging my scrunchies and I forgot to set a timer. I don't get to do that. I have to make up pets that died. But another reason for it is that when ADHD is like debilitating, we don't fucking tell you because we don't expect a compassionate response. I have good close friends, like emergency contact level friends, that have said things to me like, dude, you don't have a mental illness that makes you late to things. Come on. And I'm like, can I confide in this person anymore? I don't know how to explain this to people without getting mean. This is not like a game I'm playing with you. This is not a bit that I'm doing that I can turn off when it's time to be serious. I was functionally trapped in my house on Friday because I couldn't find my keys for 2 hours. 2 hours that I did not have. I was flipping my house upside down. I missed an appointment. I had to pay a cancellation fee. I had to reschedule another thing. The keys were in my coat pocket. When I tell this story to neurotypical people, I'm gonna frame it as a joke because if I don't, they're gonna laugh anyway because they have no other way to digest this situation. To them, this is like a wacky thing that happens occasionally. 2 hours seems like kind of a long time, but like, you know, we all have those days. I had no way of knowing that it was gonna end at 2 hours. I was doing the math of how much it would cost to replace my keys. I have had to do that math a lot. If this is a rare thing that you're just used to being able to like absorb, you don't have to do the math of scaling this up. You don't have to think how many Uber fees and cancellation fees and locksmith fees and flight rescheduling fees have I paid this year? Can I afford to have this day again? All of us do have those days, but how many of those days are we allowed to have? The more of them you have, the more likely it falls on your sister's wedding, your final exam, your job interview, a medical emergency, your court date, your custody handoff. When you have more of those days than the prescribed allowable number, which is not written down anywhere, it forms a pattern. And everywhere that pattern is visible counts against us in a very real way. So why the fuck would we tell you about all of them?
I'm tired of everyone thinking I kin the Riddler from Batman because I'm autistic. I'm obviously a Bruce Wayne type of autistic instead. Oh, Mr. Wayne, Yo, what the fuck? Mr. Wayne, yo.
Alright, but hear me out. No autistic person has all 5 of the following. A typical relationship with sleeping. Cisgender heterosexuality. A driver's license. An absolute lack of feelings about or history with the psychiatric industry. And, last but not least, a normatively functioning gastrointestinal system. Personally, I have 0 of these things, and I think that's beautiful.
Gonna die. I know exactly what I want and who I want to be. I know exactly why I walk and talk like a machine.
Autistic people, if you ever feel a bit too self-aware for therapy, I have a tip for you. You have to tell your therapist that it has to be a two-way dialogue. Traditionally, they're trying to lead you to water. They're trying to get you to come to the conclusions in your own head, to reflect by your own feelings, by your own thoughts, your own experiences. We have done that. If the answer was in here, I would have it. It has to become a dialogue. That way, they tell you their perspectives about the situation, how they feel about the situation, how they would react, and maybe things that they noticed that you didn't. This way, it adds new variables. Things that weren't in your head before are now in your head. And it gives them the perspective that they long for. And it gives you the perspective that you need.
You tell me, honestly, you tell me, does anybody have the answer to this? Because why doesn't a fun fact go down well? I know, it's a very autistic thing, okay? But when someone tells me a fun fact, I'm like, oh, fuck no. Okay, here's the thing. Leave your best fun facts in the comments. Let's have a fun fact comment section party. Go on, tell us a fun fact. And we're all going to be amazed and we're all going to be excited. Because why? Fun facts are exciting.